My dearest sister Eleanor, I hope that you find the city of Chicago to be most favorable. I long to see you soon when my transport might be arranged. I am looking forward to seeing your husband and my precious niece Margaret. I know that you are prospering, and this gives me pleasure. I, as of late, have maintained a most queer disposition. I am most unsettled about an event Sunday afternoon. After morning church services, Mother and Father were asked to attend lunch at the home of Mr. and Mrs. Robert Burt. I rode home with the Duncans, I ate biscuits with molasses, and settled into a book of verse by Tennyson. I then heard a sputtering sound through the open window next to the entryway. I peeped through the curtains. It was the ruggedly handsome young Mr. Donald Beasley. As you know, I was all agog for him in the last year of my studies. We shared a dance at the Christmas ball, which I had previously discussed in my last series of letters. I had hoped he had thought to seek more than a casual friendship after our graduation in April last, but alas, he and his father moved to Missoula. I thought only of him since the last year. He is often in my dreams. His angelic visage, rugged frame, and gentlemanly qualities have thoroughly captured my heart. However, I have not seen him for an agonizing 14 months until yesterday. He was in our driveway aboard a gas buggy. I flew down the steps and into his embrace. He presented me with a ring, and we got married in the passionate daydream I had the second after seeing him. Scandalous. Actually, I waited breathlessly for him to approach our front door. Knock, knock. I took a deep breath to feign surprise. Why, Mr. Beasley? What brings you to Bigfork upon such a delightfully pleasant day? We exchanged pleasantries. He explained that in Missoula, his father and some investors had opened a market for automobiles. It is the first one in the western part of the state. We chatted some more. Big news. He remains a bachelor. He asked, "Would you—" "Yes," I interrupted him. Oops. Mother would surely have been most fiery with me for being forward. He chuckled. "Would you care to go for a ride?" I pretended to ponder. "My schedule is free the remainder of the afternoon." I took a deep breath. "Yes, I would be honored, sir. One moment, please. Please have a seat on the porch swing while I prepare myself." I bolted upstairs to my room and refreshed with a splash of perfume and powder. I hesitated on the lipstick as to refrain from being too forward. A pinch on each cheek and I was all prim. For a second I paused. Mother would be furious once she discovered that I had spent time with a young man unescorted, but I am 17 years old. Phooey on manners. I shall make my own rules. He took my right hand and assisted my ascent into the bench on the machine. I tied the bow of my hat and sat down beside him. Off we go, a-motoring. To steady myself, I wrapped my left arm around his. This action was an issue of safety and nothing more. We sped through town, out by the mill, and down past the schoolhouse. He said that we were going approximately 15 miles per hour. Oh, what fun! I felt as though I was a comet hurtling through the stratosphere. We headed for the timber lane and spiraled ever higher up the mountain. The massive trees enveloped us as if we were in some undiscovered country. His goal was to reach that spot which affords a most satisfying view of Flathead Lake. Remember, we rode horses up there with the Hall sisters 2 summers ago for a picnic? We finally reached the summit. He gingerly aided my exit from the car. We sat on a bench and enjoyed the view. It was the single most romantic moment of my life. I leaned my head against his shoulder. Oh, I could have died. After what seemed like forever, he mentioned that he was just passing through Bigfork, up through Lakeside, to discuss business. I understood, of course. I felt lighter than air as he helped me back in the seat of the machine. We motored back down the mountain. I was lost in love. In an instant, my swooning turned into a nightmare. Do you remember some time back when we heard a lecture by a missionary to the local Indians? He spoke about their customs, belief systems, and family life. He explained that their primitive ways led to superstitions. Their most feared spirit was the mountain devil, and if you saw the hairy beast, you would surely die. Eleanor, we saw one. It had a long, red hair. It walked no more than 20 yards ahead of us. Oh, Eleanor, it was horrid. It walked upright as a man, but no man was ever this tall. It had a gruesome face like the ogres in the picture books I enjoyed as a child. But this was no simple drawing. This was a true colossus far bigger than a bear. It strolled in ease as if this was his manner. By no means did it acknowledge our presence. The brute was either ignorant of our location or thought us to be inconsequential. We watched dumbfounded as it easily lumbered from left to right before disappearing into the thick forest. I shudder to think I would ever lay eyes again upon such an embodiment of perdition. Even now, I can imagine his wicked hands around my neck. Young Mr. Beasley stepped on the accelerator and we dashed like lightning away from the killer's domain. We finally slowed down as we approached the town, not wishing to make a spectacle of ourselves. When we arrived home, I burst into tears. I felt weak from the wailing. Mr. Beasley put an arm around me and I was so caught up in my dread that I didn't even notice the note of affection. I breathed, "In the name of all that is holy, what was that?" Mr. Beasley offered consultation but no answers. He simply reassured me. "Are we going to die?" He shook his head no. He helped me down, mumbled something like, "Have a splendid afternoon," hurried up to my room and collapsed on my bed in tears. I grabbed the sheets and screamed into my pillow. "Oh, Eleanor, oh, Eleanor, oh, Eleanor, my life is at an end. My one true love has fled town and removed from me all hope of future happiness. I seek solace only in the understanding that my chastity remains intact from the lustful growl. Oh, I do hope to see Mr. Beasley again. Perhaps we might discuss the frightening matter and put it aside just so. Oh, Eleanor, please, please pray that I regain my disposition and be relieved of this most foul trepidation. Henceforth, I have no intentions of ever going up that accursed mountain. I tremble knowing beyond this blessed hamlet reigns a mysterious demon hungering for my blood. We women remain as mere pawns to nature's dread. After what I have seen, I am replete with nightmares. I fear there are more watching me. I jump at every sound. Oh, wretch, I am undone. Please pray for my well-being. Your sister, Andrea."